Oh, oh. Ha. Good morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live, thank you for that. If you're checking us out online, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. They are free there, free to watch. Of course, we have audio and video versions. We do also put them on YouTube. Good to be back. Appreciate you guys' patience last week. Got offered an extra night where we were going, so we took an extra night of vacation. But we are back here in the booth here on a Monday morning, so happy Monday morning to you. Let's jump into it real quick. If you're heading into Baton Rouge this morning, going to be a little bit of a tough commute. You're looking at accidents at Airline and I-12, as well as Airline and Airline and I-12, as well as I-12 and Sherwood. So you're going to be hitting some minor delays there. There's also some backups at I-12 in Millerville. People trying to get on the interstate. There are heavy delays on the on-ramps in Livingston Parish, especially at 447, which is Walker, and I-12, Jubin Road, and I-12, as well as Range Avenue and I-12. So traffic's sort of moving this morning, but it's going to be slow going if you're heading on I-12 into Baton Rouge. You're also looking at heavy delays at 4H Club Road, River Road, and 190. Some minor delays at Dunn and Lockhart. So please keep that in mind. People still trying to navigate that roundabout. There's also some delays on 64 heading into Central. And good morning, Miss Pygott. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Looking at your weather today, it's currently 73 degrees. Going to be a hot one. Going to get up to 93 today. 69 degrees is your overnight low. It's going to be sunny, so it is going to be a pretty day. We have a lot to get through today, so I'm going to be talking fast. We're playing catch up again, missed Thursday and Friday, and then of course we have the weekend news to get to you today. There it is. On Saturday, there was a peaceful march in Walker. It began at Unity Church and went to Revival Temple and then returned. Much like in Denham Springs, it was peaceful, just a protest with regard to the George Floyd murder. It has continued to expand all around the country and even all around the world since that occurred in Minneapolis a few weeks ago. This one, much like the one in Denham, was peaceful. No incidents were reported. Again, it marched from Unity Church of God in Walker to Revival Temple and then back to Unity Church. City officials participated as well as the police department. So we're glad, of course, the governor continues to talk about how he is happy that many of these protests and marches in Louisiana have continued to be relatively peaceful. So that is a good sign. And speaking of the governor, getting into a lot of legislative news today, he did veto the first iteration of the insurance bill, according to Governor John Bel Edwards. There were problems with it. There were holes. It did get amended several times on the House floor. This was that bill that was supposed to lower insurance rates by doing things like adjusting the minimum jury threshold down from $50,000. That was supposed to get down to the 5 to 10 range. It ended up being amended all the way up to 15, so it kind of became problematic, I guess you can say. That was one of the initial issues. One of the things the governor also said was the 10% reduction was not mandatory, and a lot of these insurance companies could not only come and present information on whether or not that would cost them money, they could also raise rates, so it wasn't preventing a rate rise either. So a lot of problems with that bill, at least according to the governor, according to some statements from some business groups over the weekend. They're probably going to try again. There's still 2 weeks left of the legislative session before they have to sign some kind of budget into law on June 30th. So that will end up being a Tuesday. So it'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. So they are going to probably try again. They're going to reboot that bill in the Senate and try to work back through it and see if they can get it through unamended with some of the language that Governor John Bel Edwards was requesting. Good morning, Miss Karen. Yes, please mask up. We'll get to some coronavirus stuff in a second, still working through this legislative stuff. So again, there are still 2 weeks in the legislative session. Of course, there is a standstill budget, which what that means is it's not that it's not moving. It's just that it appears that both the governor and the House and the Senate are kind of on the same page with regard to the budget, using some of those federal funds to shore up losses in revenue. Now, we have discussed that the legislature will probably come back into session sometime in the fall to discuss those revenue drops or dips and to find out where the state stands fiscally before moving forward. So again, they're going to try to pass something that looks like a full-scale budget, and we'll get into some expenditures that they've already approved in just a second. But they will be coming back in the fall. Now, one thing that the governor did sign, which should make a lot of Louisiana residents happy, is expanded alcohol delivery to your home via things like Waiter and Uber Eats and that kind of thing. As long as those companies are appropriately registered, and you have to check your ID and be of a certain age. Once the alcohol is delivered, you can now have alcohol delivered to your home. That was signed last week, so I'm sure there are a lot of very excited Louisiana residents with that one. Of course, there are rules and regulations, including that one where you have to have appropriate ID. The companies have to be, the companies have to be registered appropriately with the state to make those types of deliveries. So there's going to probably be some hiccups and things initially as the program rolls out, but soon you will be able to have alcohol delivered to your home. $2.1 billion is the construction budget for the state this year. It actually comes in $3 million under the bond cap. So the Ways and Means Committee chairman expects that most, if not all, of the projects will receive some sort of line of credit and funding. We will, of course, find out as those come along. The full list of projects will be released once the bill is signed into law, so we'll know where Livingston Parish stands on some of that funding. Hopefully, COVID-19 does not push off things like the Cook Road extension, which would connect Pete's Highway to the Jubin Crossing retail development, among other things. So there's, hopefully we're still on that list, I guess you can say. College fee autonomy, especially for LSU, will continue. The legislature is pushing through, legislation to keep LSU and other universities inside the state keeping their autonomy structure, or keeping their fee structure autonomous. And what that means is it's up to the school. The school's got to come, present some information, and say, this is why we're raising rates, and then they raise rates. The state does not have to approve it. It's been kind of that way for a few years. This would make it official. The interesting thing is there are some, there are proponents of it. Of course, it's being presented, but there are those who are opposed to it because of the TOPS program and the way that scholarship fund works. There's a lot of folks that don't think that the TOPS funding can keep up with the consistent increases in college tuition, especially at LSU. Of course, there's been a lot of comparisons between a current LSU tuition and even that as early as 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It's nearly doubled. So there's going to be a lot of discussion around this, but it has not reached the governor's desk, but they are looking to grant the universities in Louisiana autonomy on being able to set their own tuition. Now, of course, if they're private institutions, then their tuition is up to them. But schools like Southeastern, LSU, Louisiana Tech, University of Lafayette, those types of places usually had to get legislative approval to raise their tuition rates. They're trying to give them the ability to not have to do that. Over the weekend, the Livingston Parish Library System hosted a hurricane preparedness seminar at the Dim Springs Walker branch. It was one of the hosts was Mr. Jay Grimes, a meteorologist from WFB Channel 9. They are, everybody's trying to get prepared for this hurricane season. We kind of got a jolt right here at the beginning. Of course, thankfully for us, unfortunately for others, that huge band of rain pushed farther to the east of us because the storm sped up once it got into the Gulf. So we didn't get as much rain as we thought. Jacksonville, Florida got most of it. But it was kind of a stark reminder, okay, we are in hurricane season. Things are moving forward. So the library hosted that little seminar over the weekend. You can check it out at mylpl.info. You can, I don't know if the video is up yet, but they will have a video of it. Getting into a little bit of community news before we jump into the coronavirus. Mr. Lane Hardy's virtual tour that began April 10th and ran through the end of May pulled together 2 million views. So he's starting to catch some fire. He appeared on things like Ryan and Kelly in the Morning and CMT. As he kicked it off on the Raising Cane's Facebook page, he went live there, and it was all very virtual, trying to respect COVID-19 and the social distancing. It was a very cool series. You, of course, can always go back to those pages and check out his songs and what he did on those platforms throughout those 2 months. Southeastern Louisiana did confer 123 degrees to Livingston Parish graduates. You can go see that list at www.livingstonparishnews.com/living. Recommend you go check that out. First, before we talk about your coronavirus statistics, let's remember those mitigation efforts. Wash your hands for 20 seconds or more with soap and water. Disinfect common surfaces at home and at your office. Wear a mask in public if at all possible. That's been pushed a lot. We'll talk about that in a second. Don't touch your face. Control your cough and sneezing with an elbow or a tissue. 6 feet or more of distance between yourself and others in public. 25 or less to a gathering, preferably less. Stay home if you're sick and utilize telehealth to get in touch with your doctor. And stay home to work if at all possible. Current coronavirus statistics in Louisiana include 46,619 cases, 2,901 deaths, 33,904 have recovered, 509,000 tests, so very much expanding that testing capacity. 556 have been hospitalized on 76 ventilators. Unfortunate news with unemployment coming from last Thursday. 1.5 million new unemployment claims. 43 million total claims have been filed. Still expected to rise. However, recurring claims did drop slightly week over week by about 2%. So we're kind of seeing some fluctuations. Of course, we talked last week about how the market reacted to some of the unemployment claims that had come out and has since recorrected or moved back another direction. So the market is a little fickle as of right now. A lot of economic uncertainty going on in the nation and worldwide, really. Of course, Livingston Parish still second in the capital area for unemployment, looking at about 19,000 total people. Louisiana ranks 8th overall nationwide in unemployment. While hospitalizations are dropping and those on ventilators are dropping, the coronavirus can still affect you in a lot of different ways. Both the governor and the Department of Health are asking people to please continue to wear masks and please continue the mitigation efforts. There are a lot of people who have moved off COVID. They think that it's over, it's done, it's not that big of a deal. Some of the things that are now coming out of hospitals are reports that getting COVID can actually permanently affect you in a lot of different ways. That includes your blood, your fatigue levels, that sort of thing. I don't have a lot of information on it because this is all very new, but you're seeing a lot of people who had recovered even as far away as April, still 2 months later, feeling the effects, trying to deal with them. A lot of the doctors, return visits via telehealth. The doctors are telling them it may be permanent. So highly recommend that you take this seriously as we continue to see rising in cases. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Our testing, it has increased, and it's increased rapidly. So the number of new cases to the number of new tests, of course, is dropping that ratio, which is great. But we are still increasing in numbers. So please, please, please remember those mitigation efforts. This thing can really cause a bad day for you. So please remember that. Of course, again, the governor and the Louisiana Department of Health are asking people to please wear your mask. Please practice those mitigation efforts. Please remember that COVID is still in our community. Of course, here in Livingston Parish, we're over 500 cases. Not sure exactly how many have recovered, but it has been several months since we announced our first case here. And of course, we have now pushed into the 30 death range. One last time with your traffic, going to get into that. Accidents at Airline and Sherwood on I-12, as well as delays at Millerville and I-12, so you're going to be dealing with that today. There are heavy delays on the on-ramps at 447, Jubin, and Range Avenue, so please be prepared to wait to get up on the interstate. You're also looking at delays at 4H Club Road and River Road and 190 on the western side of Denham Springs, and delays at Dunn and Lockhart as people continue to figure out how to navigate that roundabout. It's currently 73 degrees. 93 degrees is your high today. 69 your overnight low. It's very going to be very sunny today. It's going to be a warm one. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Please remember we're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month. You get that every Thursday in your mailbox. We are also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have a coronavirus page, which is free. Also, our podcast page is free. Otherwise, it is $5 a month. Again, appreciate you guys' patience from last week. I did enjoy my time off, but I was back this morning. Going to have a little bit more local news as we catch up with a few people today. Finish off some stories. Got some good podcasts coming up this week. Looking forward to that. Going to be having one with Mr. Jeff Taylor, our assessor, on Wednesday. We're also going to be having one on Friday with Restoration One. So looking forward to that. But we do hope you have a great Monday. We are halfway through June, barreling towards July and moving back towards that school startup. We're going to be keeping an eye on that and what the governor says, what the local school board says, and how we're going to handle the coronavirus going back to school. Still got about 6 weeks before that starts to take effect. So still plenty of time to try to move forward into these next phases. Expecting an announcement on phase 3 coming next Monday. We'll be waiting for that. It would start at the end of that week. So let's keep an eye on that. Otherwise, we hope you have a great day. Try to stay cool today, and we will see you tomorrow morning.